Senator Chris Dodd has even proposed something similar. He actually wants to resurrect a federal agency from the 1930s to buy up all of the bad loans and make taxpayers take on the risk. Just what we need. Bigger government, more spending, and more bad debt. Yes, now it's fixed. A few months ago, anyone proposing plans like this would have been laughed right out of the Capitol, but now they're actually having hearings on these things. Senator Chuck Schumer even called the bank's proposal, quote, an interesting idea that we're looking at seriously. Chuck, come on, man, go back to grandstanding in front of a gas station and leave our banks alone, will you? This proves just how much letting politics trump economic common sense is trouble. But it also proves something worse. We are following right in England's footsteps to a place where no one is ever allowed to fail, where the government stifles all competition, and it's a place we used to call a socialist state. Congressman Scott Garrett is a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, come on, please help me out on this. How does anybody that you work with think that taking over a bad bank will actually help or save the economy?
It is amazing to think that that's where we're getting to, but you know, this is not the first sign of this. For the 5 years that I've been in Congress now, I've been waving the flag about another institution in this country, and that is the GSEs, the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Yeah.
They're basically connected to the federal government, and the taxpayers on the hook, upwards now to almost $7 trillion, that's with a T, trillion dollars in debt that they have collectively. And with what's going on now, the House, just as you didn't add, this is a new factoid you can add to the point, to your list there, you know, the House and the Senate passed legislation just a week ago that raised their limits as well as far as what loans that they can get into, so they can get into the jumbo loans. So they're going to be over 75% of the market. So what's going on?
And you know what? Nobody learns their lesson this way. Do you know today that at Northern Rock Bank, you can still get a 125% loan for a house. You can still, and their slogan, I love this, their slogan is business as usual.
Yeah. Well, Alexander Hamilton had the idea of having a national bank in this country, and we saw what happened with that. The governments should not be in the business of running banks. And the problem is that some financial institutions have just gotten so large that they realize they're so big that governments can't allow them to fail. And that's what happened in this situation. That's going to happen over here in the United States with some of our larger financial institutions. And there will be congresspeople and senators who will placate to it and say, sure, we'll bail them out.
So then what happens? We can't take on all of this debt. What happened? We just print more money and...
Well, thank you. That's what happened right now with our own government, as far as we're just spending too much money. And what's the best solution for any government, of course, is if they're not taking enough revenue right now, print more money, you create inflation, which is bad for the poor person, but great for the government at the end of the day, because more money comes in. So we have to look to another alternative than what's been done in the past.
Congressman, are you frightened at all?
I'm very frightened.
I see our country. I see people, my listeners, my viewers, they make fun of me. They're like, oh, Glenn, you're so paranoid. Oh, my father said to me about a year ago, he said, Glenn, the United States of America, it will never fail. It will never be into this trouble. We'll never repeat the Depression. I said, Dad, we're making the same mistakes over and over again. We can't just print money and then just have all of these candidates that are running for president say, oh, and we're going to have health care, and we're also going to have a new Green Corps, and we're going to have all of these programs. When does it end?
Hopefully it ends with this next presidential election, and the people will be alert to these issues and vote the right way. But we also said for centuries there will always be in England, there will always be a Bank of England. But what happened over there, of course, is what you normally see in third world countries, a nationalization of a financial institutions. You don't see that in first world countries. And this is the first time, you talked about your report a year ago, that was the first time since around 1860 or 1866 that you had a run on the bank. That can happen here, too, if we take actions like Schumer and other people are talking about.
Congressman, we'll be watching closely. Thank you very much. You let us know how we can help.